Before we begin, take a slow, deep breath and imagine the ground beneath you trembling ever so slightly, carrying secrets from deep within the earth. Wherever you are watching tonight, I invite you to subscribe to The Thoughtful Night and leave a comment telling me what you see outside your window as we journey together. Tonight, we are diving into a world of fire and stone, where the earth builds and destroys, silently shaping everything around us. Beneath the surface, the earth is alive. Molten rivers stir in hidden chambers, moving with a patience older than time itself. Volcanoes are the voice of this hidden world, a slow, powerful heartbeat that sometimes whispers, sometimes roars. As we embark on this journey, imagine yourself drifting gently above valleys and mountains, following the molten trails that have carved continents, forged islands, and sculpted the very landscapes you thought you knew. Each volcano tells a story of creation and destruction woven into the crust of the planet. Some sleep for centuries, while others erupt in brilliant displays of fire and ash, reminding us of the immense energy lurking just beneath our feet. And yet, in that fury, there is an elegance, a rhythm, a quiet artistry that unfolds over millennia. Tonight, you will not only witness the raw power of volcanic eruptions, but you will also feel the slow, patient creation of new worlds. You will hear the whispers of molten rock, the sighs of gases rising to meet the sky, and the gentle shaping of landscapes that will outlast all human lifetimes. This is a journey of awe, of wonder, and of deep relaxation, guiding your mind toward both curiosity and calm. So, as we drift closer to the glowing heart of our planet, allow yourself to sink into your chair, your bed, or your favorite quiet corner. Let the rhythms of the earth slow your breath. Let the glowing rivers of lava carry your thoughts away, melting stress and worry like stone under heat. And as you settle in, remember that the story of volcanoes is also a story of patience, resilience, and transformation. Lessons written not in words, but in rock, fire, and time. Take one more slow breath, and together we will descend into the hidden world beneath our feet, where volcanoes patiently wait, silently shaping and reshaping the face of our world. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine a journey downward, through layers of stone and silence, where sunlight never reaches and time feels stretched, almost liquid. You are descending slowly, past the familiar crust that carries cities, forests, and rivers, into the hidden architecture of our planet. The rocks here are alive with heat, pressure, and restless energy. You feel the weight of thousands of atmospheres pressing from every side, the temperature climbing with each deeper step, until the stone itself seems to hum with potential. This is the world of magma, a river of molten rock that is at once destructive and generative. Here, chemical elements dance together under immense pressure, melting and mixing, forming liquids and slurries that will, over millennia, find their way toward the surface. Iron, magnesium, silicon, and oxygen swirl in silent choreography, shaping the future mountains, islands, and plains that humanity will one day call home. There is no hurry here. Time stretches infinitely, each movement slow, deliberate, and transformative. Beneath you, the mantle flows like a viscous, imperceptible ocean. Although solid in its deeper layers, it behaves over geological timescales as if it were liquid, creeping and folding under its own weight. Convection currents rise and fall, carrying heat from the core outward, driving the motion of the surface above. And at the boundaries of these currents, in zones of weakness or thinning crust, magma accumulates, forming pockets of fiery potential. These chambers, hidden from human eyes, are both crucibles and engines, slowly sculpting the planet's surface. It is here, in these molten veins, that the story of tectonic plates begins. Imagine massive slabs of rock, floating atop this molten ocean, colliding, diverging, and sliding past one another in a drama that unfolds over millions of years. These plates are storytellers, inscribing the Earth's history through earthquakes, mountains, and volcanoes. Subduction zones swallow oceanic crust only to return it, transformed, through volcanic eruptions. Rift valleys pull continents apart, letting molten rock seep upward, whispering the secrets of Earth's interior. Each movement is slow, imperceptible to the human eye, yet powerful enough to shape oceans and continents. The chemistry here is as astonishing as the physics. Heat and pressure break down minerals, allowing new compounds to form. Volatiles like water and carbon dioxide escape from the rock, lowering its melting point and giving magma the ability to rise. You can almost feel the subtle release of gases as bubbles form, tiny balloons of pressure waiting for their chance to escape. This is not violence, but a patient build-up, a measured preparation for the grand displays that may one day reach the surface. Even in its hidden state, magma is a sculptor. Its movement folds, fractures, and lifts rock layers above it, creating bulges that will become mountains or islands. Over thousands of years, these hidden rivers of heat can bend entire landscapes. Imagine the energy it takes to lift a mountain without a single visible hand, an artistry beyond human comprehension. The earth itself is breathing, its lungs hidden beneath kilometers of stone, inhaling heat from the core and exhaling molten creation. The scale is impossible to fully grasp. A single magma chamber may contain enough liquid rock to bury entire cities. Yet it moves with patience and precision, creeping upward inch by inch. Every mineral alignment, every fraction of pressure, contributes to the eventual emergence of fire and stone above the surface. And when the moment comes, when magma finally breaches the crust, the slow work of millennia is revealed in spectacular eruptions that can reshape landscapes in hours or days. As you drift through this hidden world, notice the contrast between motion and stillness. The mantle flows as slowly as a glacier, yet carries the power to birth islands. Magma may pool quietly for centuries, invisible beneath forested slopes, while the energy within grows, waiting for a path to the surface. There is a rhythm here, one that asks for patience and awe. It is a rhythm that echoes through time, connecting the Earth's core to the mountains that rise above the clouds, to the soil that feeds life, and to the fire that inspires myth and story. Now, allow your mind to follow the path of a single bubble of magma as it begins its ascent. It is lighter than the surrounding rock, buoyant with heat and gases. It squeezes through fractures, gathering momentum, moving toward the surface. Along the way, it may pause in a chamber, pooling and mixing with other magma, altering its chemistry and potential. This is the quiet beginning of a volcano, the patient prelude to creation and destruction intertwined. Soon, this molten story will find its voice above the Earth's crust. But before it does, it has sculpted and prepared everything in its path. The rocks it melts, the pressure it accumulates, the chemical symphony it conducts. And in this hidden world, beneath layers that humanity seldom touches, the Earth continues to breathe, to churn, to create quietly, patiently, for millions of years. Take a deep breath now, as if inhaling the heat and life of the planet itself. You have glimpsed the hidden world beneath your feet, a world alive with molten rivers, tectonic dances, and patient creation. And as we prepare to rise toward the surface, imagine the fire that waits to shape mountains, valleys, and islands. Soon, we will witness the birth of a volcano, the slow awakening of a force that has built, and sometimes destroyed, the very world around us. Somewhere deep beneath the shifting crust, the Earth begins a slow, patient stirring. A volcano is not born in a moment of spectacle. It rises as a story told over millennia, sculpted by forces we rarely see but constantly feel. Beneath oceans and continents alike, magma gathers, pooling in hidden chambers, pressing upward, seeking escape. It is here, in these molten reservoirs, that the seed of a volcano is sown. Volcanoes often begin at boundaries, where tectonic plates converge, diverge, or slip past each other. In subduction zones, one plate dives beneath another, melting as it sinks into hotter layers of the mantle. This molten rock, buoyant and restless, begins its journey toward the surface, carrying with it minerals and gases that will one day define the volcano's character. At rift valleys, where plates pull apart, fissures open like yawning mouths, allowing magma to rise slowly, quietly, shaping the landscape with patient persistence. And in the heart of tectonic plates, hotspots, columns of superheated mantle, pierce the crust, building chains of islands over millions of years, each peak a testament to the Earth's restless inner energy. Imagine, for a moment, a volcano as it begins to take shape. It is not an instant eruption, but a gradual swelling of the Earth's skin, a subtle lifting and stretching. The first signs may be tiny vents, wisps of steam, or gentle tremors felt only by the patient ear of the land. Over centuries, layers of lava, ash, and tephra accumulate, creating a mountain that will one day dominate the horizon. Like a slow awakening, the volcano emerges from obscurity, a monument to the invisible forces below. Volcanoes take many forms, each reflecting the nature of the magma that births them. Shield volcanoes, with their broad, gently sloping sides, are built by low-viscosity lava that flows freely, stretching across the land in quiet rivers of molten rock. Stratovolcanoes, or composite volcanoes, rise more dramatically, their steep profiles the result of alternating layers of lava and ash. Cinder cones are smaller, yet fierce in their formation, built quickly by eruptions that throw fragments of rock into the air, raining down to create rugged slopes. And calderas, those vast depressions formed when a volcano's magma chamber empties and collapses, remind us that even giants can hollow out and vanish, leaving lakes and mysteries in their place. The nature of the eruption, whether gentle or violent, depends on the invisible properties of the magma itself. Viscosity dictates its movement. Thick, sticky magma traps gases, building pressure until it bursts in spectacular display. Thinner, more fluid magma flows steadily, reshaping valleys and plains without dramatic fanfare. Gas content adds another layer to the story. Carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, water vapor. These invisible companions influence the height of eruption columns, the reach of lava flows, and the very atmosphere surrounding the growing volcano. Each volcano carries its own character, written in the chemical signature of its magma, the angle of its slopes, the frequency of its eruptions. They are both creators and recorders, documenting the movements of tectonic plates, the rise and fall of sea levels, and even the subtle climate shifts that have whispered through Earth's history. To stand at the foot of a newborn volcano is to feel the pulse of the planet itself, a heartbeat slow yet unyielding, measured not in seconds but in centuries. Consider the Hawaiian Islands, emerging one by one from the ocean, each a shield volcano rising from the hotspot below. Their slopes stretch wide, their lava flows carving new land with a patience that defies human perception. In contrast, Mount Fuji in Japan, a stratovolcano, towers with elegance and danger, its snow-capped peak a reminder of the explosive forces that have shaped it over thousands of years. And then there is Paracutin, the Mexican cinder cone that erupted in a farmer's cornfield in 1943, growing over just a few years to a dramatic height, proving that the Earth can surprise even those who have walked upon it daily. Volcanoes are not static. Their growth is measured in incremental additions of rock, in eruptions spaced over decades or centuries, in the subtle tilting of slopes as magma chambers shift below. They speak of patience and inevitability, of slow processes that dwarf human lifetimes. And yet, their presence is immediate, commanding the landscape, influencing weather patterns, and shaping ecosystems before life can fully take hold. Poetically, a volcano is the Earth's exhale, a slow rising of pressure, a patient negotiation between internal heat and the surface world. It is creation in motion, a testament to geological storytelling. Beneath every cone and caldera, beneath every gentle slope or towering peak, lies a history written in molten rock, in ash layers, in the very minerals that crystallize from magma. Reading this history is to read the heartbeat of the planet itself. As the volcano grows, it prepares for the inevitable cycle of eruptions. Some will be quiet, lava slipping gently down slopes, reshaping the land like a painter's brush. Others will be violent, shattering the mountain's surface, hurling ash and rock into the skies, reminding us of the duality of creation and destruction. And yet, in every eruption, in every layer of deposited lava or tephra, the volcano tells a story of patience, resilience, and unrelenting force. From this birth emerges the life cycle of a volcano, a story we will follow in the next chapter. We will move from the silent accumulation of molten rock to the flowing rivers of lava, witnessing the earth as it shapes and reshapes itself. Here, at the threshold of creation, we see the first signs of a force that will build mountains, create islands, and transform the world, a force both ancient and immediate, waiting quietly beneath the surface, ready to awaken. Once a volcano has gathered its molten heart, the story continues with movement. Lava, the glowing, fluid pulse of the earth, begins its journey from hidden chambers toward the surface. It is both artist and sculptor, shaping landscapes with patience and intensity, a liquid embodiment of the planet's inner energy. To watch lava flow is to witness time itself moving slowly, yet unstoppable, a dance choreographed by heat, gravity, and chemistry. Lava does not all behave the same way. Its nature depends on its composition, the delicate balance of silica, gas, and minerals that define its viscosity. Basaltic lava, common in shield volcanoes like those of Hawaii, is thin and free-flowing. It spreads across the land in smooth, wide rivers, gently reshaping valleys and plains. Pahoehoe flows move with graceful ripples, their surfaces folding and twisting in intricate, slow-motion patterns, almost as if the earth is weaving molten threads across its surface. Lava, thicker and more jagged, breaks and tumbles in rough shards, creating landscapes that seem violent, yet are carefully structured in their own chaotic rhythm. In stratovolcanoes, where lava is richer in silica, the flows are slower, heavier, and more explosive. Pressure builds as gases struggle to escape, creating eruptions that hurl lava, ash, and rock skyward. When the lava finally escapes, it forms thick, blocky flows, stacking layer upon layer, creating the steep, dramatic slopes that define these mountains. Every eruption is a unique performance, a dialogue between the molten earth and the air above, leaving behind a record of energy, composition, and time. As lava flows, it cools and crystallizes, leaving behind new landforms. Rivers of fire carve channels, fill valleys, and build plateaus. Each layer is a testament to movement, a frozen record of the Earth's dynamic pulse. Over time, cooled lava can become fertile soil, rich in minerals that sustain forests, fields, and the countless forms of life that follow. The same fire that seems destructive is quietly generative, transforming barren landscapes into places where life can flourish. The journey of lava is never straight. It follows the contours of the land, responding to gravity, obstacles, and previous flows. Lava tubes form, natural conduits that carry molten rock far from its source while insulating it from rapid cooling. These hidden tunnels can transport lava for kilometers, releasing it at unexpected points, surprising those who think they understand the mountain's form. Lava domes grow slowly, swelling near vents, creating hills that expand as molten rock continues to push upward, a reminder that the Earth's energy cannot be contained indefinitely. Gas is a subtle but powerful companion in this dance. Water vapor, carbon dioxide, and sulfur gases bubble through the molten rock, influencing how easily it flows, how violently it erupts, and even the color and texture of the surface. When gas escapes gently, lava flows calmly, painting the land with smooth curves. When trapped, it can burst explosively, fragmenting rock and sending molten shards skyward. Lava, then, is not merely liquid rock. It is the voice of the earth speaking in heat, motion, and chemical whispers. The colors of lava tell another part of the story. Bright orange and red signal extreme heat, the rock still in motion, fluid and alive. As it cools, it darkens to deep reds, browns, and eventually black, its movement halted, its shape fixed in memory. Yet even in solidification, lava retains its energy, its ability to reshape through erosion, weathering, and the slow, relentless work of time. Every flow is a palimpsest, a layer written over previous ones, each telling a chapter of creation, destruction, and transformation. Lava interacts with water in surprising ways. When molten rock meets the ocean or rain, steam rises in clouds of white, and explosions can occur as water rapidly vaporizes. The resulting interactions sculpt coastlines, create new islands, and form volcanic glass. Pillow lavas, bulbous formations created when lava cools underwater, are quiet monuments to the meeting of fire and fluid, a delicate balance between heat and resistance. Life, too, responds to lava's presence. Though initially barren, cooled flows become home to mosses, lichens, and eventually forests. Lava fields, harsh at first, transform over decades and centuries, their mineral richness allowing life to flourish in ways that seem almost miraculous. In this way, lava is both sculptor and gardener, a force that shapes not only land but the conditions for life itself. Volcanoes, through lava, remind us that creation is often violent yet ultimately generative. They teach patience. Flows take days, months, or years to complete. They teach resilience. Landscapes endure and recover, ecosystems adapt. They teach perspective. Human lifetimes are but moments in the slow, deliberate choreography of molten rock. Watching lava is a meditation on time and force, a reminder that beneath our feet, the earth is always alive, always moving, always shaping what is yet to come. The dance of lava is not merely physical. It is poetic. Rivers of fire, moving with grace or rage, illustrate the duality of the planet's inner energy. They teach us that creation often involves destruction, that beauty emerges from chaos, and that the Earth's processes, slow and deliberate, are both magnificent and essential. Lava does not rush. It flows in rhythm with the deep heartbeat of the planet, a tempo measured in centuries rather than hours, in millennia rather than days. As we stand at the edge of a cooled flow, we can trace its path back to the vent, imagine its molten journey, and feel the quiet power that shaped it. This is the next stage in a volcano's life, from accumulation to eruption, from molten chaos to solid form. In the next chapter, we will explore how these flows continue to shape ecosystems, influence climate, and leave behind landscapes that endure for millennia, a permanent record of the Earth's fiery artistry. The world can hold its breath, even as the Earth itself prepares to roar. Imagine standing miles away, yet feeling the pulse of the planet beneath your feet, a slow thrum that grows, swells, and quickens. Deep within, pressures mount, gases trapped in molten rock, until the surface can no longer contain the tension. Then comes the eruption, a sudden, violent exhalation of Earth's hidden fire, a moment when creation and destruction intertwine. Ash rises like a ghostly tide, curling into the sky, a dark plume stretching beyond the horizon. It moves with an eerie grace, drifting over forests, rivers, and towns, coating the world in silence and shadow. The sky darkens, not with night, but with the breath of the Earth itself. In that suspended moment, the world is both fragile and immense, tiny beneath the volcano's fury. Beneath the ash, pyroclastic flows surge like rivers of living heat. They advance with terrifying speed, consuming everything in their path, yet shaping landscapes in ways the eye can scarcely appreciate. Trees are swept away, valleys buried, and new layers of rock and soil are laid down, as if the Earth is rewriting its own history. There is beauty in this terrible precision, a reminder that even destruction carries the seeds of creation. Consider Mount Vesuvius in 79 AD, a silent guardian over the Bay of Naples until its rage was unleashed. Pompeii and Herculaneum vanished under ash and pumice, lives frozen in time, yet preserved for centuries. The eruption was not merely catastrophe. It became a window into history, a geological and human record intertwined. Or Krakatoa in 1883, whose explosions were heard thousands of miles away, whose ash circled the globe, and whose waves reshaped islands and coastlines. Even Mount St. Helens in 1980, with its lateral blast, demonstrated that the Earth's energy can strike unpredictably, carving landscapes and leaving scars that endure for decades. Listen closely to the volcanic thunder, that low, rumbling growl that vibrates through the air, rattling windows and bones alike. It is both warning and song, a reminder of the raw forces at play beneath the Earth's skin. Heat radiates in waves, tangible and oppressive, reminding anyone nearby of the molten heart churning below. The smell of sulfur cuts through the smoke, a pungent, unforgettable signature of fire and transformation. Your senses are fully awake, yet your mind drifts, mesmerized by the vastness and inevitability of these events. Every eruption carries duality. Life is often destroyed, landscapes reshaped, yet new possibilities emerge. Lava, once molten fury, eventually cools into rock that will host plants, streams, and creatures in centuries to come. Ash, smothering and suffocating at first, becomes fertile soil, feeding new growth. The forces that seem entirely destructive are also agents of renewal, sculpting the earth in slow, inexorable artistry. Imagine the ash cloud from a historic eruption drifting across continents. Sunlight dims, temperatures fall, and for a brief season, the world feels the breath of the volcano. Volcanic winters remind us of the intimate connection between Earth's interior and the atmosphere above. Every eruption echoes outward, touching ecosystems, climates, and civilizations far beyond the mountain itself. We sense fragility in human life, yet resilience in the planet, as it absorbs and adapts to the sudden upheaval. As night falls, picture the glow of molten lava threading its way down the mountainside, a ribbon of orange and red against the darkened landscape. Even in the most violent eruptions, there is rhythm, a cadence to the chaos. Nature reminds us that destruction and creation are inseparable, two sides of a single story written in fire, ash, and stone. The eruption leaves scars, yes, but it also lays the groundwork for rivers, valleys, and fertile plains to emerge over time. The aftermath is quieter, though the memory of the eruption lingers in the rocks and soil. Vegetation begins to reclaim the slopes, pioneer species brave the heat of fresh volcanic soil, and new life asserts itself in subtle, patient ways. Human memory also preserves these moments, in stories, art, and the science that seeks to understand and predict. We study eruptions, we watch the mountains, and we learn the language of the earth, one rumble, one ash plume, one molten river at a time. Eruption is both warning and wonder. It reminds us that the world is not static, that every mountain, valley, and plain has been shaped by forces beyond our control. And yet, in this knowledge, there is comfort. Understanding the rhythms of volcanoes, seeing destruction as part of a greater cycle, invites us to witness, to reflect, and to marvel at the enduring patience and power of the planet beneath our feet. As the sky clears, traces of ash still float in the wind, and the mountains, scarred but intact, rise once more toward the heavens. They are monuments of fire and time, silent teachers of the delicate balance between chaos and creation. Standing in this quiet aftermath, you feel both small and part of something vast, connected to the Earth's long story of growth, eruption, and renewal. From the violent spectacle of fire and ash, we begin to sense the subtle ways in which volcanoes influence the planet beyond immediate destruction. The gases and aerosols, the heat and light, reach far into the atmosphere, shaping climates and life itself. It is here, in the intersection of violent eruption and gentle global influence, that we will next discover the extraordinary reach of volcanic power. Even after the fire has cooled and the ash has settled, volcanoes continue to speak, not with rumble or roar, but in whispers that drift across the sky. The atmosphere becomes their canvas, painted with invisible threads of gases and tiny particles that travel far beyond the slopes of molten rock. Sulfur dioxide, carbon dioxide, water vapor, and aerosols rise into the upper air, mingling with clouds and wind, shaping climate and weather in ways both subtle and profound. A single eruption can send ash halfway across the globe. Sunlight dims as fine particles hang in the sky, scattering light and softening its warmth. Entire seasons can feel cooler, a phenomenon that has been witnessed time and again in history. The volcanic winter of 1816, when Krakatoa's remnants and other eruptions plunged parts of the northern hemisphere into unseasonable cold, disrupting crops and reshaping human life. The Earth, in its delicate balance, reminds us that what happens in one place can ripple outward, connecting continents through air and sky. Yet not all these gifts of the volcano are warnings. The very gases that at first seem noxious, carbon dioxide, nitrogen, sulfur compounds, also sustain life. Carbon cycles through the air, nourishing plants, feeding oceans, and ultimately sustaining the web of life. Nitrogen, once bound in volcanic emissions, becomes a hidden fertilizer, returning to soil and sea to foster growth. In this way, volcanoes are paradoxically both destructive and life-giving, a duality that humbles the human mind and inspires awe. Picture the cloud of ash and aerosols rising like a cathedral of smoke, refracting the sun into subtle, crimson light at dawn or the soft silver of dusk. The air feels different near such plumes, heavier, charged, almost sacred. Sailors, farmers, and travelers of old recorded these events, noting the strange hues of the sky, the chill in the summer, the disruption of winds. Their stories, once myths or omens, now resonate as science. The planet itself breathing, its lungs filled with fire and gas, reshaping life in slow, deliberate strokes. Volcanic gases can linger, suspended above the world, altering atmospheric chemistry for months, even years. Sulfur compounds form tiny droplets, creating reflective clouds that dim sunlight and cool the land below. These shifts may seem minor, yet they ripple through ecosystems, subtly affecting plant growth, animal migrations, and human survival. History records the consequences in every harvest, every famine, every unexpected frost, reminding us of the profound interconnections between Earth's interior and the air we breathe. And yet, there is poetry in these shifts. Imagine standing at the edge of a caldera as evening falls, the sun hidden behind a veil of volcanic haze. The world is transformed, bathed in muted gold and gray, its colors softened, its rhythm slowed. You feel the weight of history and the delicate patience of the planet. Volcanoes remind us that the Earth is not simply a stage on which life unfolds, but an active participant, shaping the conditions for every creature that walks, swims, or flies upon it. Consider how these volcanic influences have quietly guided human history. The cooling effect of massive eruptions has sparked migrations, inspired myths, and even influenced battles and empires. Crops fail, communities move, cultures adapt. From Pompeii to the Andes, from Iceland to Indonesia, human civilizations have both suffered and thrived in response to volcanic whispers carried on the wind. In every case, the atmosphere becomes the storyteller, translating molten fury into global consequence. But the story does not end with the human eye or history books. Volcanic aerosols and gases play a critical role in Earth's own cycles of renewal. They interact with clouds and precipitation, sometimes nurturing rain in dry regions or altering the chemical balance of oceans. They remind us that even in apparent destruction, there is the quiet creation of possibilities. Volcanoes, in this sense, are patient sculptors, shaping both land and sky over time spans that exceed human comprehension. In the stillness after ash and gas drift away, the landscape may seem unchanged, yet the air carries memories of fire and upheaval. Seeds settle on enriched soil, pioneer species brave the slopes, and oceans receive nutrient-rich deposits. The atmosphere, once thick with volcanic breath, clears to reveal the resilience of life and the enduring cycles of Earth. Everything is connected: sky, land, water, and life itself. Volcanoes, in their unassuming patience, teach us that even the most violent forces have long-term purpose. In this quiet reflection, we see how volcanoes connect the microscopic with the cosmic, linking molecules of gas to the grand currents of climate and history. They are the invisible architects of weather and seasons, silently influencing the patterns of life while most of us remain unaware. Their power is not always in their visible eruption, but in the subtle, persistent shaping of the world above the molten heart. From this perspective, the patient hand of the volcano becomes clear. It is not only the mountain of rock and flame that matters, but the breath it sends into the sky, the chemistry it alters, the cycles it sustains. In understanding this, we begin to see a broader picture. Destruction is never merely final, and creation often hides in plain sight, carried on invisible winds that circle the globe. And so, the scene shifts from violent displays to the quiet persistence of volcanic influence. The sky, once darkened with ash, clears to reveal fertile valleys, thriving forests, and the slow resilience of life. The Earth, shaped by eruptions and atmospheric whispers, continues its patient work, preparing landscapes and ecosystems that will host life for millennia. Volcanoes, in both fury and quiet, guide the delicate balance of air and climate, teaching us to notice the invisible rhythms that sustain the world. From the grand sweep of global effects, our attention now moves closer to the land itself. Beneath the ash, over cooled lava, life begins to emerge. Soils enriched by centuries of volcanic activity welcome new growth. Plants take root in cracks, insects follow, birds return, and eventually, islands that once rose from molten chaos teem with life. Volcanoes, it seems, are not only destroyers. They are cradles, patiently crafting fertile landscapes from fire and stone. Where molten rock once flowed, where ash once reigned like powdered night, life begins again. It is patient, persistent, and sometimes startling in its audacity. Lava cools into black, jagged sheets, barren at first glance, yet beneath the hardened surface, the earth holds warmth, minerals, and the quiet potential for growth. From this seeming desolation, the earliest pioneers of life emerge. Lichens that cling to cracks, mosses that carpet stone, and tiny insects that follow the first sprouts of green. Volcanic soils are paradoxical, harsh in the moment, fertile in the unfolding. The minerals from eruptions, broken down over time, feed plants and trees, nurturing ecosystems that become richer than what existed before the eruption. On islands born from fire like Hawaii and the Galapagos, life starts with the smallest, most determined forms. Seeds carried by wind, ocean currents, or birds find purchase in the rough stone, and slowly, stubbornly, forests rise. Each sprout is a testament to the resilience of life and the patience of the earth. Hawaii, with its chain of islands, is a living laboratory of this process. Lava flows stretch like frozen rivers, black and unyielding, yet green shoots begin to puncture the darkness. Over decades, ferns spread, palms sway, and forests reclaim the land. Birds follow, drawn by shelter and food, while insects and small mammals colonize crevices and valleys. Life, once pushed aside by fire, returns with a quiet triumph. The volcanic islands are not only landscapes but also classrooms, revealing the intimate dance between destruction and renewal. Iceland, too, tells a story of persistence. Here, glaciers meet lava fields, rivers carve black rock, and moss blankets once barren slopes in vibrant green. The soil, rich with minerals, supports grasses and shrubs that, over centuries, allow forests to form. Each ecosystem tells a story written in patience, a reminder that the Earth's creativity often unfolds at the pace of centuries, not hours. Life does not rush. It waits, adapts, and finds a way to flourish in the most unlikely places. In the Galapagos, volcanic activity creates isolated habitats, offering a stage for evolution itself. Each island, born from molten fire, develops unique species, from finches with specialized beaks to iguanas adapted to volcanic rocks and salty shores. The interplay of life and fire here is almost sacred. The volcano provides both a challenge and a gift, sculpting not just landscapes but the very forms of life that will thrive upon them. The creative force of volcanoes is silent yet profound, shaping biodiversity over millennia. The resilience of life on volcanic lands is a lesson in adaptation. Pioneer species stabilize soil and create microhabitats. Fungi form networks that nourish plants. Insects pollinate flowers that push through the ash. Birds distribute seeds, and small mammals enrich the soil with their movement and waste. Each actor in this unfolding drama plays a role, coexisting with the scars of fire while forging the promise of growth. Nature teaches patience, adaptability, and quiet courage in the face of apparent desolation. Even in human terms, volcanic lands inspire awe and respect. Communities have learned to cultivate crops on nutrient-rich lava soils, understanding that the land which once threatened life now sustains it. Farmers in Java plant rice on terraces built from volcanic earth. Vineyards thrive in Italy's volcanic hills. Orchards flourish on the slopes of Mount Etna. Humanity, like nature, learns to embrace the paradox. From destruction comes life, from fire emerges sustenance. There is a poetic rhythm to these landscapes. Imagine walking across a cooled lava field, feeling the heat still lingering beneath your feet, observing small green shoots piercing black stone. The silence is profound, broken only by wind and the distant cry of a bird. Life is delicate yet unstoppable. Every fern, every insect, every bird is a testament to the extraordinary persistence of life. Volcanoes, once perceived solely as forces of annihilation, reveal themselves as co-creators, crafting fertile lands from fire and ash. On these volcanic lands, evolution itself is a slow, ongoing story. The unique conditions foster diversity in forms and behaviors. Adaptation is written into every leaf, every claw, every call. Life does not simply survive. It experiments, flourishes, and transforms the very landscapes that once seemed inhospitable. Volcanoes are thus both sculptors and patrons, shaping habitats while quietly nurturing the intricate web of life. Even the oceans, lapping against newly formed volcanic islands, play a role. Lava enters the sea, creating underwater reefs and new ecological niches. Coral colonizes the cooled flows, fish arrive to feed, and the aquatic life forms a parallel story of colonization and growth. The interaction of land and sea around volcanic formations amplifies biodiversity, creating microcosms where evolution and adaptation are visible in real time. Life on volcanic lands reminds us of a profound truth. Creation is not always gentle, and growth often emerges from hardship. The Earth's forces, though destructive, provide the raw materials for beauty, complexity, and resilience. Fire and ash are not endpoints. They are beginnings. The landscapes sculpted by volcanoes, whether islands rising from the ocean or fertile valleys in continental interiors, are laboratories of life itself, where ecosystems continuously test the limits of persistence and innovation. As we leave the black lava fields and watch life reclaim the land, the story gently transitions from the rhythms of the natural world to the rhythms of human curiosity and reverence. Humans, too, encounter volcanoes with a mixture of fear and fascination, understanding that these fiery mountains hold both danger and inspiration. Observing life emerging from fire invites reflection on our own resilience and the delicate balance between risk and reward, chaos and creation. From the persistence of pioneer species to the flourishing of entire ecosystems, volcanoes reveal a quiet miracle. Life is resilient, adaptive, and profoundly creative. Each eruption writes a new chapter, and each seed, fern, or bird continues the story, knitting a tapestry of biodiversity atop the scorched and fertile soil. In this way, life and volcanoes dance together, partners in an ongoing dialogue of destruction and renewal, challenge and possibility. Volcanoes have always held a magnetic pull on human imagination, a mixture of fear, reverence, and awe. From the earliest myths whispered around fires to the precise measurements of modern volcanologists, humans have sought to understand these towering furnaces of creation and destruction. They are more than mountains. They are symbols, storytellers, and teachers. In ancient times, volcanoes were gods and spirits. The rumble beneath the ground, the sudden roar of an eruption, the clouds of ash that darken the sky. These were interpreted as the voices of powerful deities. In Rome, Vesuvius was seen as a threshold to the underworld, a place where the divine and the destructive intersected. The eruption of Vesuvius in 79 CE, which buried Pompeii and Herculaneum, was both a catastrophe and a story frozen in time. Streets, homes, and lives were preserved in ash, offering centuries later a haunting glimpse of life paused, interrupted by fire. In Indonesia, Krakatoa's explosive eruption in 1883 reshaped the ocean and the atmosphere. The roar of the volcano was heard thousands of miles away, a terrifying testament to the force of nature. Ships were tossed, skies turned crimson, and tsunamis swept across coasts. The human response was a blend of terror and resilience. Survivors rebuilt, fishermen returned to the seas, and scientists documented the aftermath. Even in tragedy, humans sought meaning, mapping the violence, predicting the cycles, and learning to live alongside these fiery neighbors. Modern science has not diminished the wonder, it has deepened it. Volcanology, the study of volcanoes, reveals patterns in eruptions, the slow accumulation of magma, the subtle swelling of the earth. Monitoring stations hum with data, tremors, gas emissions, ground deformation. Instruments track the pulses of a sleeping giant, and humans listen, trying to interpret the language of the earth. We study lava flows, ash deposits, and pyroclastic surges not only to protect communities, but to understand the planet's processes, the rhythms that shape continents and oceans over millennia. Yet human encounters with volcanoes are not solely scientific. They are cultural, personal, and emotional. Communities have long settled in volcanic shadows, drawn by the fertility of volcanic soils. In Java, farmers plant rice and vegetables on terraces sculpted from volcanic earth. In Italy, vineyards cling to the slopes of Mount Etna, producing wines infused with the mineral essence of lava. In Japan, villages nestle near dormant peaks, aware of the risk yet inseparable from the land's bounty. To live near a volcano is to negotiate with both danger and gift, fear and fascination. Volcanoes have also inspired myth and story, reflecting human attempts to grasp their power. In Hawaiian culture, Pele, the goddess of fire, dances across the islands, creating and destroying with every step. Her lava flows are both punishment and promise, an eternal reminder that fire shapes life. These narratives convey lessons of respect, humility, and reverence. Volcanoes are neither merely obstacles nor merely resources. They are living, breathing entities, entwined with human imagination and experience. There is a quiet bravery in these encounters. Scientists ascending Mount St. Helens, carefully measuring gas emissions and lava flows, walk paths once devastated by eruption. Local residents rebuild homes, plant gardens, and continue traditions in the shadow of fiery peaks. Tourists watch molten rivers glow at night in Hawaii. Photographers capture the aurora-like sparks of Icelandic eruptions, and students sketch mountains whose very existence is defined by fire. Each encounter is a dialogue between humanity and Earth, a recognition of our smallness and resilience. Volcanoes teach patience and attentiveness. Their signs are subtle: a shift in the ground, a hint of sulfur in the wind, a tremor beneath your feet. To observe a volcano is to become attuned to time on multiple scales, from the rapid pulse of an eruption to the millennia-long construction of a volcanic island. Humans, in listening and watching, develop a relationship with the planet's hidden energies. We learn to respect patterns we cannot control, to anticipate without claiming dominion, and to marvel at forces far greater than ourselves. Yet fear remains, interwoven with admiration. The pyroclastic surge of Mount Pelee in 1902 wiped out St. Pierre in minutes, leaving a chilling memory of the volatility of these mountains. The eruption of Mount St. Helens in 1980 reshaped a landscape, uprooting forests and rivers, and reminded humans of the precariousness of life near fire. These events leave scars, both on the land and in memory, yet they also foster understanding, preparedness, and the drive to study the Earth's inner workings. There is a rhythm to human engagement with volcanoes, a cycle of observation, adaptation, awe, and reverence. Cultures build rituals around eruptions, scientists develop early warning systems, and communities remember the lessons of destruction while celebrating the fertility that follows. Volcanoes are both mirror and teacher. They reflect our fear and curiosity, and they instruct us in patience, resilience, and respect for forces that transcend our control. In the quiet aftermath, after the lava cools and ash settles, humans walk the landscape with reverence. The scars of fire are visible, yet new life begins to sprout. Farmers plant crops, birds return, and scientists map the transformed terrain. Observing a volcano after an eruption is to witness recovery and persistence, a reminder that life adapts and the Earth continues its patient work of creation. Volcanoes remain enduring teachers, blending danger with beauty, destruction with creation, myth with science. To encounter one is to feel the pulse of the planet beneath your feet, to hear the echoes of eruptions past, and to witness the delicate balance between human life and geological power. They remind us of the thin line we inhabit between fragility and endurance, chaos and harmony. And so, human stories, myths, and science converge. We are drawn to the fiery peaks not merely out of curiosity, but out of a recognition that volcanoes are living narratives, shaping landscapes, life, and imagination. The earth speaks in fire, ash, and molten rock, and we listen. Sometimes in fear, sometimes in awe, always with humility. From these human encounters, we move naturally to a broader perspective. The slow, immense art of geological creation. Volcanoes shape not only human life but continents and islands over millions of years, quietly building and reshaping the world in ways almost imperceptible to our brief human eyes. Step onto a volcanic island just emerging from the ocean, where black lava still gleams like glass and the air smells faintly of sulfur and promise. Here, the earth works on a scale far beyond human urgency. Mountains rise slowly, continents stretch and fold over millions of years, and islands form as if sketched by a patient, invisible hand. Volcanoes are the architects of this slow, relentless creation, shaping landscapes in patterns both gentle and majestic. Every eruption, whether violent or subtle, contributes to this grand design. Lava rivers harden into rock, layer upon layer, building hills that will one day become mountains. Caldera lakes collect in sunken craters, reflecting the sky in liquid mirrors. Chains of islands emerge like pearls strung across the sea, each one a testament to the ceaseless creativity beneath the Earth's surface. Time here moves differently. What seems sudden to us is but a blink in the slow choreography of geological forces. Imagine standing on such an island, watching the first shoots of green push through black rock. Life finds a foothold even in the harshest terrain, and yet the land itself was here long before any human eye could witness it. Over millennia, the slow accumulation of magma will elevate this island, raising peaks that touch clouds and valleys that collect rain. Streams will carve paths, forests will grow, and the island will mature, a living testament to patience. Volcanoes are both artists and gardeners, shaping the canvas while preparing it for life to flourish. Across continents, volcanic activity stitches the earth together. Mountain ranges rise from the slow collision of tectonic plates, the crust folding and buckling under immense pressure. The Andes, the Cascades, the Japanese Alps, all are born of molten beginnings, their peaks and valleys sculpted by fire, pressure, and time. Here, we begin to see creation on a scale that humbles the human imagination. Mountains that took millions of years to rise, islands that formed over epochs, and continents that drift silently across the globe. Even dormant volcanoes continue this work. Though their eruptions may cease for centuries, the land they've built remains, slowly weathering, eroding, and interacting with life. Caldera lakes may become habitats for birds and fish, lava fields may collect soil and seed, and volcanic cliffs may offer shelter for countless species. Creation does not always roar. Sometimes it whispers through slow, almost imperceptible changes that shape the world over geological time. Look at the volcanic arches carved by wind and water, delicate yet enduring. These formations are monuments to patience. Stone and ash reshaped by invisible hands, sculpting beauty from raw, molten beginnings. Island chains stretch like fingers across the sea, each one a story of fire, cooling, and resilience. Life follows, adapting to every curve of the landscape, every mineral-rich slope, every shadow of a volcanic peak. The interplay between fire and water, rock and wind, sun and rain, creates a dynamic canvas where creation and destruction are inseparable partners. Consider the moment when a new volcanic island first appears above the waves. For humans, it is sudden, dramatic, a spectacle to be observed. Yet the process beneath the surface is patient, slow, and deliberate. Magma accumulates, pressure builds, and finally, after centuries of preparation, the land emerges. Waves crash against the blackened shore, birds alight to claim territory, and over years, mosses and ferns soften the jagged rock. This is creation at its most tangible and immediate, yet it is still only a glimpse of the timescale on which the Earth truly works. Volcanic landscapes invite reflection on our own sense of time. A single human lifetime is barely a ripple in the ocean of geological epochs. Mountains that seem eternal were once molten rock. Islands that appear stable were once only lava fountains in the sea. Each eruption, each cooling lava flow, each ash deposit is a note in a symphony composed over millions of years. By witnessing even a fragment of this process, humans are reminded of the Earth's patience and the scale of natural creation. Yet the slow art of creation is not divorced from the spectacle of destruction. Lava may destroy forests and villages, pyroclastic flows may reshape valleys, and ash may blanket the skies. And yet, from this destruction comes the potential for renewal. Valleys carved by lava streams will hold fertile soil. Calderas may become lakes that nourish life. Volcanic minerals enrich the ground for forests, fields, and crops. Creation and destruction are intertwined, a slow dance in which one cannot exist without the other. Imagine walking along a chain of volcanic islands, each one a slightly different stage of emergence. One is still black, with smoke curling from vents. Another is green, its slopes covered in grass and young trees. A third shows signs of age, cliffs eroded by wind and waves, yet still proud and enduring. This journey is a meditation on time, patience, and resilience. You witness the Earth's hand moving slowly, shaping land, life, and the very surface of our planet with deliberate care. In this slow art, humans find both humility and inspiration. We may plan cities, cultivate lands, and build monuments, yet we exist only briefly on a stage that has been centuries in preparation. Volcanoes remind us that the Earth is patient, and that true creation is a process of persistence, layering, and adaptation. Each lava flow, each volcanic deposit, each caldera lake is a testament to forces larger than ourselves, yet intimately connected to the life that will eventually call it home. And so, we stand in quiet reverence, feeling the pulse of creation beneath our feet. The land before us is both young and ancient, shaped by fire and patience. We witness mountains growing imperceptibly, islands forming in the sea, and landscapes maturing over epochs. Creation is neither rushed nor careless. It is deliberate, resilient, and awe-inspiring. Volcanoes are not only destroyers. They are sculptors, artists, and caretakers, reminding us that time and patience are essential to the most magnificent works of nature. From this perspective, destruction and creation are inseparable, and we see the Earth as a slow, patient artist. The molten heart beneath our feet continues its work, shaping continents, raising mountains, and giving life to islands. Standing on this land, we begin to sense the rhythm of geological time, the artistry of slow creation, and the profound patience of our ever-changing planet. And from this meditative reflection on the patient, immense work of volcanoes, we can move next to dormancy and the waiting Earth, exploring the quiet, contemplative periods between eruptions, when the Earth seems still but continues its patient, unstoppable work beneath the surface. There are times when the Earth seems to pause, when the molten heart beneath the surface quiets, and volcanoes rest. These moments of dormancy are not emptiness but patience. The deep, slow breathing of a planet that never truly sleeps. Mountains that once thundered with fire and ash now stand silent, their peaks shrouded in clouds, their slopes softened by centuries of wind and rain. Yet beneath that calm, energy waits, contained and persistent, ready to rise again when the time is right. Dormant volcanoes are patient giants, their presence a reminder of forces far beyond human measurement. From afar, they may appear serene, even gentle, as meadows carpet their slopes and forests cling to their sides. Streams trickle through valleys once carved by molten rivers, and wildlife thrives where destruction once reigned. The mountain seems to breathe slowly, inhaling the seasons, exhaling mist and fog, a silent sentinel marking the passage of time. The stillness of dormancy invites reflection. We tend to measure time in days and years, but the Earth operates on a scale that dwarfs human calendars. Centuries pass, and the volcano remains silent. Millennia flow, and its slopes continue to weather and shift imperceptibly. Even in repose, the volcano shapes the land, guiding rivers, collecting soil, and offering shelter for life. It is a reminder that patience is power and that creation and destruction are cycles measured not in moments but in epochs. Imagine walking near a dormant volcano. The air carries the faint scent of minerals, of old lava cooled and settled. Birds call from hidden perches, insects hum in the underbrush, and the wind whispers through ancient ridges. The mountain looms above, silent yet alive, its energy stored deep within the crust. You sense the history etched in every rock, every boulder, every ridge, a memory of eruptions long past and the promise of those yet to come. Dormancy is also a time of subtle tension. The earth never truly stops. It only waits. Magma continues its slow movement beneath the surface, pressure builds, and the landscape is quietly reshaped by thermal expansion, small earthquakes, and chemical changes. The mountain's silence is deceptive, a calm veneer over a restless heart. We can almost feel the pulse beneath our feet, a heartbeat measured in centuries, reminding us that energy never disappears. It only waits for the right moment to express itself. Poetic imagination finds richness in this patience. The dormant volcano teaches us about impermanence and continuity. Mountains that have slept for thousands of years may erupt tomorrow, and islands that seem stable may rise or subside over centuries. Dormancy is the Earth's quiet artistry, a period of gestation and preparation. Life adapts to this rhythm, growing in the cracks of cooled lava, nesting in volcanic cliffs, and drinking from streams formed by past eruptions. In this way, dormancy becomes a stage for resilience and creativity, where the slow accumulation of change sets the scene for future transformation. History is filled with human encounters with dormant volcanoes, moments when we forget their hidden potential. Cities have been built in their shadows, towns have thrived in fertile volcanic soils, and civilizations have prospered under their protection. Yet time eventually reminds us that the Earth keeps its own calendar. Dormant giants awaken with sudden force, and when they do, they reshape the world with a drama that defies preparation. The quiet before eruption is both beautiful and humbling, a lesson in respect for the patient rhythms of the planet. Dormant volcanoes also offer a mirror to human life. We too have periods of rest and reflection, times when energy is stored and growth occurs unseen. Like the mountain, our apparent stillness may conceal deep transformation, and our patience may set the stage for future achievements. Observing a volcano in dormancy, we learn to appreciate slow progress, the unseen processes that quietly prepare the way for greatness. The mountain, in its quiet, embodies both power and restraint, teaching us that waiting is not weakness but an essential part of creation. The poetry of dormancy extends beyond the mountain itself. Fog drifts across volcanic slopes, rivers meander through valleys carved by ancient eruptions, and forests stretch over old lava flows. Life flourishes in this apparent calm, nourished by the mineral-rich soils left behind by fiery ancestors. Birds, insects, and mammals make their homes on slopes once scoured by lava, and even humans cultivate the land, planting crops in soils enriched by volcanic ash. Dormancy is not emptiness. It is the slow accumulation of abundance, the earth preparing for future vitality. Even the sky seems to reflect this patience. Clouds gather over the peaks, casting shadows that shift with the day. Sunlight touches the slopes in soft, fleeting moments, highlighting the textures of cooled lava and eroded rock. The mountain's silence is punctuated only by the sounds of life it nurtures. A bird's song, the rustle of leaves, the trickle of water. The dormant volcano, though still, remains deeply connected to the rhythms of the world around it, its quietude shaping landscapes and ecosystems with the subtlety of centuries. In meditation, one can imagine the volcano's heartbeat beneath the surface. Pressure builds slowly, magma shifts imperceptibly, and time stretches beyond human comprehension. The waiting earth is never idle. It is patient, powerful, and eternal. Dormancy reminds us that creation and destruction are continuous cycles, that energy is never lost, and that patience is a profound force in shaping the world. As we leave the silent slopes of a dormant volcano, we carry with us a deeper understanding of the Earth's rhythms. We have witnessed a giant in repose, felt its quiet power, and sensed the immense patience behind its calm. From the violent eruptions of the past to the slow art of creation and now to this meditative stillness, the story of volcanoes is one of cycles, resilience, and the enduring pulse of the planet. From this place of quiet observation, we are ready to reflect on the greater cycle: destruction and creation, eruption and dormancy, energy and patience. Volcanoes remind us that the Earth is never static, that time stretches far beyond our human lifetimes, and that every pause is a preparation for the next heartbeat. In the waiting Earth, we find lessons of humility, endurance, and wonder, closing this chapter with a sense of reverent contemplation for the unstoppable forces beneath our feet.